What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to another episode of your Schedule Analyzer. We're looking at Week 16 today. My name is JJT with Komish. Komish, before we head into Week 16, some news, I guess. Miles Turner got an extension today. So, looks like, the chances of him getting traded have become not really zero, but slimmer, I guess.
Actually, I wanted to discuss this because I watched the video of Bobby Marks. He actually released a very, very educational video about this extension of Miles Turner and how unique it is. Basically, they renegotiated his contract this year from 17 to 35 million. So he got $18 million more this season, not an extension. It's a renegotiation, and then they extended it for 2 more years after that, which is 21 and $20 million. The implication of that fantasy wise is that he's eligible to be traded. He's still eligible to be traded by the trade deadline. There's no 6-month rule. So, and it all actually made him, for me, harder and easier to trade because now his cap hit is 35 million. So anybody who wants to trade for him would have to match that salary, which is hard. From 17 it became 35, which is hard. But on the other hand, if you're a contender, or if you're not a contender, like we heard Toronto is interested in him, you get him for 2 more years for sure. Unlike before, where he might leave.
At a lower cost as well.
Yeah, on a lower cost, 20 and 21 million, because basically he got the 18 million this year already. So that's good for the Pacers and good for whoever wants to trade for him. So bottom line, this is for me a mixed bag. It actually made him more appealing for other teams, but it also made him harder to trade for this year in the sense of the matching of salaries. So for me, it's still 50-50. There's still a big chance he gets moved. Maybe not to a contender because it's going to be hard to match those salaries. But for instance, the Lakers maybe Pat Bev's salary. No, not Pat Bev. Russell Westbrook's salary might match that. But I think it's still 50-50 with Miles Turner.
And the implications of that fantasy-wise is that, of course, many have been saying that Isaiah Jackson is now went from a luxury stash to definitely a drop player, although he has been a drop player. I don't think, even as a luxury stash, I don't think he's worth stashing with the numbers that he's been giving. In fact, there are games. Did he play the other day? I don't think he even played.
He didn't play yesterday. Miles was questionable, but Miles played, and then Jalen Smith was the backup. That was the rotation, and it seems to be the rotation when Miles is healthy. So luxury stash wise, maybe you can wait until very near the deadline if you really want to be, if you really want to stash him. But for now, don't see him really helping. He'll give you zeros, which is tough, which is really tough.
Yeah, very annoying. And my hats off to you if you've been holding on to him even until this point. OG. Scary injury by OG. Yesterday.
He fell hard.
And didn't move much, right? It seems like he had a very hard time getting up or moving after that fall.
Yeah. He had a hard time. I think he did take the free throws, but I don't think after that he played. He asked to be subbed out, and reportedly he was dangling his arm or wrist or whatever. I don't know which part of it really was the problem, but he didn't play today, as we know. This is bad because OG is in my trending down list. We can mention him there. This January he's not been good. Now I remember when he was very good early the season and he was like top 20 and everything, but that's been gone. That's gone. He has cooled off significantly. Now 12 points, 39%.
He also came back from injury.
Yeah. But even before that, he's not been that good anymore. It's Scotty Barnes who's actually starting to play better. Remember the start of the season, the narrative was what happened to Scotty. OG. This is the OG we wanted. This is the OG we all expected.
OG was top 15, top 20 earlier.
he was aggressive. He's now scoring, now rebounding. This is what he missed. But after, from I think December, maybe mid-December onwards, he's averaged like 12 points, 1.5 steals, and then 40% field goal, 70% free throw. So it's been bad. No, maybe he's not healthy. We don't know. And another thing about OG is the trade rumors. He's really gonna be very, very, very popular, and he's not gonna be. It's not gonna be hard to get him. I think teams like Memphis, they just give Toronto 2 or 3 first rounders plus fillers. I think they could get OG. So that's also gonna be bad for him. Only a contender will really do that right now, because OG in Memphis would put them over the top. So, but he will just be one of many in Memphis, for instance. So this is not good for him fantasy-wise, especially this injury, of course.
Yeah. Well, at this point, you just put him in your IL plus maybe, and just see where that goes. We don't know what's gonna happen in trade deadline. How many weeks trade deadline? Is it next week?
February 9. February 9 is a trade deadline. That is week 17. That is right smack in the middle of week 17.
Yeah. So that's getting closer, and I think that's going to be a big event because fantasy wise, because sometimes the landscape of certain players, right? The fantasy landscape changes a lot depending on the trades that happen. Another injury, Jalen Green. I didn't really know much about this one.
The calf, it's just a calf contusion, I think, or something. He didn't play today. They had a back-to-back. He didn't play today. So we don't know the update. But what's clear is KPJ is still out with his own contusion with his foot. I don't think he's near. I haven't heard him practicing or anything. Now Jalen Green, I think, might take some time.
And this is perfect. I think this is a perfect time for those who picked up Tyree Eason. I mean, I've seen Tyree Eason in a few more spots, in a few more leagues. Because I think after today, they have a couple of days off, or I couldn't remember. I think the schedule is not as good.
That's good.
So that's why I think no one's picking him up. But if you are talking about luxury stash, I think he's probably up there. The top 1 or 2 luxury stash before the trade deadline.
Yeah. In my waiver today, I added that I highlighted Tyree Eason again. He started today, double, a good. It's his 3rd or 4th double in the past few games. So he, as I said, start him already. And it is possible that the Rockets maybe they won't take KPJ and Jalen Green. They don't rush them back, because of course we know what they want to happen. No? My problem with that is I think the Rockets are better with Jalen Green out. I put him in my trending down list because he's really been bad, as in bad. He had 240 plus point games. You remove that, and he's shooting 32% for the whole of January on 16 to 17 attempts field goal. That is really, really gonna hurt your team. And he doesn't steal. He doesn't help much.
He doesn't do much, really.
His free throws is not even like 98%, 90%, 80, 85. He's like 78%, something like that in free throws. So he's sneakily bad, sneakily hurting your team. So maybe this injury would, let's see what happens to your teams if you own him. It might actually be better for you if he's injured. You look at what effect it will have in your field goals, in your free throws, in your in turnovers, in everything. If it helps, I don't know. That's one way of experimenting. Now you're forced to experiment, right? Because Jalen is out. So there.
Like I said, Tyree Eason is probably the top stash there. KJ Martin.
And Eric Gordon. Well, we're in 2023, but Eric Gordon still matters. He had 22 today, 7 assists.
So. Yeah. So I think still low key good, can contribute. I mean, for a streamer, a safer player as long as he plays, right? A safer player.
As long as he plays. Yes.
As long as he plays. All right. Some other trending down players. Well, Ball. I think Ball has been dropped. Well, I've dropped all my balls already a few weeks ago. And
you cut them off. You cut off all your balls.
No, because yes.
Yeah, you cut them off. You
I
cut them
cut
off.
them off.
I got a question about Bol this morning that made me add him. Made me write about him also. Yeah, cut him off. He hasn't blocked, I think, for a while. If I'm not mistaken.
Plus
And
the depth of the Magic. Like we've been talking about this the whole season, even before the season started. When we looked into the depth chart of the Magic, we didn't even look into Bol there because we didn't expect
yeah,
him to get
yeah,
the minutes or the playing time. But even without him, they were already stacked when it comes to the depth charts. How much more with him? And the problem with the Orlando Magic though is that forward position, that forward front court position is so stacked. Uh,
the scary part is Okiki might even come back soon.
See,
So
so there's a
they don't
lot of
even
options.
yes.
Right.
And the trees have disappeared. The blocks have really gone down. So I don't really see where he could help you from this time on. No, he has to start. He just has to start. That's just it's different. Some players are different off the bench. Some players are different when starting. That's one of he's one of them. So he's a drop.
Yeah, Paulo Banquero is not a drop, but trending down. Last 10
Significant.
games, 17, 5, and 3.
Will that be okay for you though? I mean, at
Well,
what 39% field goal, not good free throws. Although in fairness, it still in that span has been good. 1.2, 1.4. So we wanted that, we saw that, but we know all his problems fantasy wise, but we are willing to look past it if he can give us like 23, 22, 23 points, maybe 7 rebounds, 8 rebounds, something more like that. But this is again probably a factor of an outcome of them being healthy. They're healthy right now. So every day we can see like today Mo Wagner had what 20 something points Mo Wagner.
yeah,
So that happens. That can happen when you have a deep team.
yeah. And France has been playing well. France Wagner has been playing well.
Yeah, yeah. France,
So I think,
Isaac,
yeah. Plus, there's Isaac as well. So,
Isaac.
obviously, you won't drop Banquero, but yeah, just some note that he is
I'll try to
trending down.
trade him. I'll try to trade him if I can.
Trade him or trade for him.
Trade him.
All
Trade
right.
him.
There's name value in Banquero. There's name value there.
Yeah, Banquero might be the opposite of Jabari, Keegan, and the other rookies, where they will be better later in the season. I just feel like Orlando is still trying to compete, and they're just too deep right now with so many young players that Banquero will not be given the whole, you get the ball, do whatever you want,
Yeah.
thing, and he doesn't need as much developing as the other rookies also. Right? He's more ready for the NBA.
Quentin Grimes. So maybe we'll talk about some of the lower end trending
Yeah,
down. Quentin Grimes.
drop.
So drop. Yeah. Well, I don't have any.
I
I
don't have any.
just feel like the field goal's been bad. Not much else other than scoring. So yeah.
He's the guy been asked the most, Quentin Grimes. And I just said, what does he do? I mean, steals have also gone, disappeared also. So
Yeah. Killian Hayes.
mm, that
Who's
is a
starting
that
though? He didn't start
no
today.
no he did not start. He actually had 20 minutes only today. That's why you're in a bind. I don't know. I won't drop him. He had 7 assists. He had 7 assists mostly in the second half. That he had a good third quarter, but after the first half, 9 minutes, I think he didn't have anything. 4 points only or whatever. So yeah, for me, I will hold on. It's just a 2 game sample, but it's not looking good. You know what Dwayne Casey does? No,
Yeah.
he starting Alec Burks, and I don't know why that happened because all that happened is they went back to France to play in Killian Hayes' hometown. Then he comes back. Then this happened. Maybe he didn't treat Casey as well in his hometown. Didn't
It's
didn't,
also
didn't
it's also tough there in Detroit because I think the coaching staff has been playing around with the lineups a bit.
yeah
Now they began to start Sadiq Bey once again,
with Burks. Yeah,
right? And then they put Isaiah Stewart, another player who's probably going to be trending
trending down.
down,
Yeah,
on coming off the bench, right? And Stewart's value might not be In fact, wouldn't be good off the bench. I don't
Do
think.
you have Stewarts in your FAs?
I have a couple. I think just one league.
That is surprising, though. I
Oh no,
forgot
you mean in FAs? No, I don't see any Stewart yet in FAs.
exactly, which is surprising. I would have put him here. I forgot about him totally. Looking at Killian Hayes, but Hayes I will hold, but Stewart I'll probably drop him. I'll probably drop Stewart. We had one in a 16 team league where he was dropped. Ironically, not in 14. In one
Yeah,
of my 16 team leagues, he was dropped. But that for me is the right move. Drop him, and he's not helping much in as a big man in blocks. Even in field goals. So I would drop him in limited
yeah.
minutes.
So and of course, the emergence of Jalen Duren, who I think they time shared a bit today. Duren
Tactical.
was in foul trouble, but yeah, I think they're gonna start Duren all throughout now. So
Of the season,
that's
yes.
tough. Detroit's going to be tough because they're going to be playing around with the lineup a lot. Onyeka Okongwu, I've seen Onyeka Okongwu dropped for in a
How is
few
the Kongwu
spots
dropped and Stewart not dropped? That is something weird.
because there have been some games where in Stewart somehow is okay. Like
Okay.
with Okongwu, I think he got hurt as well, and then
Oh, that's true.
when
Well,
Capella
Stewart got hurt
returned,
also. Stewart missed a game. Like this
but
week.
I think they see more of Capella being more of a threat, right? Than
Okay.
Duren, because Duren's a rookie and all. I know he's been playing well, but he can easily be replaced just because he's a rookie. Unlike Capella, who's a more established player, I think he's more of a threat to Okongwu than Duren is to Stewart. I think that's just trying to see what managers are thinking.
Yeah. But
Uh,
I would say no. Hold on to Okongwu. Drop Stewart.
yeah,
That would be the right move. Okongwu still has helped. The rebounds, blocks, and field goals of Okongwu is still good, even off the bench. But I would agree that the difference of Okongwu as a starter and off the bench, huge,
yeah.
different, very big, very big.
And the game of Okongwu when he started wasn't really good every time. There
Yeah,
was just one stretch wherein he
yeah,
was really good, and then that was the stretch right before Capella came back. So that stretch was stopped, and then he moves back. So people are thinking the early days of Okongwu wherein he was struggling a lot. And
yeah.
on the other hand, if we're comparing it to Isaiah Stewart, at least Isaiah Stewart's value, I think people see it. It's just a straight line, right? Nothing too high, nothing too low. Just the same old Isaiah Stewart. It's just that the minutes have dropped. Obviously, the performance or just numbers will also drop after that. So I think that's where the managers are in a bind. That's why Pongwu has been dropped. But yeah, I
Maybe
agree. Should be held.
maybe we can have an episode about trade stashes also. We will do that for sure. Then we can dive in more in depth with Hongwu's possible stash as a trade stash. Which I think there is something there, not necessarily with Capella, but maybe with John Collins.
Yeah.
And I think that would help him. That would help him.
Yeah. Trey Murphy, another player who
He was
so
he was
hard.
I got a tweet from we got the tweet Woj I think tweeted that he was just invited to the slam dunk contest, so maybe that will help him wrap up. But I know you're not a fan of Trey as much,
I don't.
like Melton.
I'm not. But I have this one league wherein I have him, and that's one of my stronger teams. I just feel like it's crucial because I'm now against a team that this week is so strong that I just felt like he should be my Trey Murphy should be doing something for me to be able to beat this guy maybe in the playoffs or in the semis or whatever.
Somehow Trey has been able to hold on. Like today, he had 2 steals and 1 block. So that's okay. Like if you're gonna drop him, like okay, he got 2 steals, 1 block. Maybe the next game he gets 3 3-pointers, something like that. 40 point,
Yeah,
okay.
I think the
Something.
field goal is annoying as well. The field goal has dropped
Yeah, yeah,
a
that's
lot.
true. Yeah,
So there are some. The problem with Trey though is that this is not a stash. This is either a drop or a hold, or right. It's not a stash for later on. I
yeah.
don't think the
It's a
Pelicans would
stash
make
for
a
an
big
injury. It's a
for an
stash for an
injury.
injury. Yes, yes, for an injury.
And what's worse now is if you can't perform now, it's going to be tougher later on because Zion's gonna come back.
Lions. Yeah.
And Zion's out now, so It's going to
I
be
think
tough.
I think Najee Marshall's emergence has hurt him also. Najee's gotten a lot, well, not the starting position, but a lot more minutes from him. But as I said, somehow Trey has been able to give you like 17 points suddenly. Then okay, the next game 4 points, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
drop him, and then the next game gets you 3 steals, something like that. So, but don't, I'm sure people are not attached, and if Zion comes back, be ready to move on.
Yeah.
That's just how I see Trey Murphy.
Also, you don't get too attached with the ranks of Trey
Trey
Murphy because
Murphy,
he's
yeah,
ranked very high. Um,
yes,
right?
somehow
Because I think
no
I
DOs.
actually I'm weirded out by his rank. He's top 50, I think, or somewhere there,
Well,
right? Top seven,
whether
60.
the ranks are really something else. We can have a whole episode about ranks. I think it's the lack of turnovers. Threes and steals are being skewed very high in the ranks, so I think that's the reason. So I'm not gonna be too obsessed with that if I were you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just putting it out there because some managers
Yeah,
might feel hesitate. They might be hesitating to drop him because this guy's
yeah,
top 40, top 50. Why should I drop him? He'll be picked up,
yeah.
but the stats are probably empty. Just last maybe Vanderbilt. I think we have Trey Jones in the worry list, but I think I don't think Trey Jones will be dropped in any of your leagues.
But I think he's more worrying than Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt for me is a drop. I think he's been dropped in a lot of leagues, right? But Trey Jones is in the purgatory zone, as I said. I don't know what happens. What is happening in San Antonio? No, I know what's happening in San Antonio, but I'm just I'm just maybe amused that it has happened this early. It
Well,
happened this early.
Sohan had what a
Yeah.
big game today. So
Yes.
it's going to be weird. What to do with Trey Jones? I have a few. Well, I'm just holding. There's really not much. Not much trade value there for Trey Jones.
It's
I
too
don't
good to
think.
drop, as I said. It's too good
Yeah,
to drop, but
still, right?
hurting you. I
That's what I'm
mean,
saying.
he's shooting what, 7? He was 3 out of 15 the other day, 4 out of 10 today. Not much assists, getting 23 minutes, 24 minutes. Well, that's the San Antonio we told you have to expect. You have to be ready, and it's here. It's here. Potal is the same thing. He had a good game today, though.
Total is
Potal.
worse though. I think Total has been worse this year.
I would say Trey Jones has been worse. I don't know. You own
No,
a lot of Trey, so maybe you know more. I have one Trey Jones, but lately it's been nothing. Even I wanted
no.
9 assists, 8. Been getting that
The only
anymore.
thing I say Total's worse because Total's been picked higher, and he's
Yeah,
very annoying to own.
true.
Because he missed a lot of games. At least Trey Jones is pretty much available every time.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
Of
true.
all the players from the San Antonio team who's been load managed, yeah, he's probably the one that hasn't been sitting out as much. Right?
And I
Which
don't know if
can
he.
also be scary because later
Yes.
on they might just sit him
No.
put you out.
I don't know if he should be happy or not that he's not being load managed. Maybe he's not good to begin with, not that good that yeah, you just play. You're not gonna do much
Plus, he had
anyway.
a good stretch, right? He had a
Yeah,
good,
he had a
solid
good.
stretch. I
Yeah.
think a few weeks of good stretch. So I think maybe for me, I'll just cut him some slack this time. Struggling every player goes through it. For even the good ones go through it. So yeah, I'm probably holding. Are you recommending a Trey Jones drop?
No. I'm not saying it drop Ray Jones. As long as he's still getting that 24, 25 minutes, as we said, and he's not being load managed, then it's okay. If he's being load managed already, as in missing games here and there, then I would think about it. But
Yeah.
not yet there. Not yet there.
Plus, the San Antonio situation, maybe we'll look into also seeing what happens in the trade deadline because I
Yeah.
think that's going to be crucial as well.
Yeah.
Last, Jared Vanderbilt, like you said, Olinik played today. They started Olinik and Kessler, so that means
Yeah.
Vanderbilt is still off the bench.
Yes. And I
This
think
one's
that's
tougher to own, I think.
yeah, drop him. 12, 14, drop him. In 16 is okay. In 16, I actually picked him up in a 16 team. There it's okay. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 7 points, 6 rebounds. Something maybe gets you a steal sometimes. That's good in 16 team leagues, not in 12 or 14.
All right. All right, let's move on to the schedule just quickly, I guess. Week 16 schedule, two teams with two games, Utah and Boston. So if you have players like Markkinen, Tatum,
Jalen.
Jalen, That's going to be tough. But if you are holding on to players like Derek White, I think those are the more interesting players to talk about.
Vanderbilt, we just talked about
Vanderbilt, yeah.
Vanderbilt. Who
I
else?
know Olinik came back. Maybe just wait and
Olenek.
see. Well, I don't know
He
what he
played
did
terribly
today.
today. He played terribly. He actually got only less than 20 minutes and didn't do much. So, yeah, it's tough. We waited for so long for Kelly. He came back. Now he gives you a 2-game week. It's actually gonna hurt more because he's not in your IL plus anymore. He's
Well,
not in your
yeah.
IL.
Hopefully, you did not activate him. That's the only silver
Uh,
lining there. If you did not do that, because I have Kelly Olinik in one league and I did not activate him for
I did.
today because it was a
I
full roster anyway.
Yeah. Well,
So
I have so many injuries. I had to activate him. So
Derek White, a hold? Do you think at this point?
uh, I'm
Two
holding on to them.
games.
I'm holding on to in 14 team leagues. I'm holding on to Derek White, but I will be. It's my own personal situation. I think I can still hold him. I mean, my team can withstand that, but depends on you. But if your team is you're like very low in the standings and your team is not that strong, I think it's okay to drop Derek White. Brogdon is there. They're healthy, so
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Marcus
Marcus
Smart,
Smart. I think Marcus Smart is the guy that everyone's
yeah.
been waiting for.
But I think he's gonna be near. I saw him in the bench today, jumping up and down. So I think they should have lost. By the way, just have to put that there. These referees suck, but yeah, just
All
have to
right.
just say that.
Breakdown of schedule. Only one quality game day, although the Monday, the Judgment Day is a six game day.
Hey, yes.
So Tuesday there are 8 games. Wednesday that's the quality game day 5. Thursday 9. Friday 7, which is interesting. Friday is usually a quality game day.
Yeah.
Saturday is 8. Sunday 9, and then of course the Monday before the transition. That's the Judgment Day for week 16. That's 6 games.
Similar to week 15. Similar, no? A little similar. A
Yeah,
little bit.
a little similar because the Monday Judgment Day close to a quality game day, which makes it tougher to catch up,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, or to stream on that day.
Yes.
So especially if the matchups are close, right?
Yeah.
Back to backs, none on the transition week, and then week 16 there's the Lakers Tuesday to Wednesday, then none again on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Golden State, Memphis. Friday, Saturday, Charlotte, Indiana. Saturday, Sunday, lots of back-to-back teams. Atlanta, Detroit, Houston, Phoenix, Portland, and Washington. And then Sunday to Monday, Denver, New Orleans, and New York. And then Monday, the transition day, Monday to Tuesday towards week 17, Cleveland and Sacramento. All right.
Yeah.
Obviously, the worst schedule is Utah and Boston. Commissions added Indiana as one of the teams with the worst schedule because they have a 3-day break.
Yeah, at the start of the week. So after tomorrow, maybe you can drop some of the players there. I don't know.
Wait, are you dropping TJ McConnell? Because I heard Halliburton
No.
coming back.
We're not sure if Halliburton will be back, but that with the 3-day break, there's a chance. But as I said, I'm holding on to McConnell even with Halliburton back. But the Neesmith, Nemhard, these guys should drop them. You drop them. By the time they have a game, they'll be available in the waivers already.
Yeah.
They'll clear waivers. So Jalen, Isaiah Jackson, those guys are drops. This is funny because my FBI draft that's going on is just for 1 week, for 1 week of games, which is week 16. So we all are very, very familiar with week 16 already because we've been drafting big players from this week. And I was gonna interesting to see who are really bad schedules. No, Jalen, Mark, and they've dropped in the draft, and then McConnell has dropped. Halliburton, these guys have dropped. So because a 3-day break is really, really tough. But on the other hand, on the latter half of the week, if you're able to survive the first 3 days, Indiana will have 3 games in the last 4 days. So that would make, on the other hand, that would make them appealing for the second half of the week.
Yeah, and then Miami Commission has also added Miami because they only have 3 games. Plus, it's going to be a tough 3 games versus some of the top teams in the East: Cleveland, New York, and Milwaukee.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah. So on the flip side, the good teams with a good schedule. Denver, 4 games.
Denver 4 games. And then the games are very easy for fantasy wise, no. But I hope that Jokic doesn't rest anymore. That is still a concern. That is now an issue. That is now an issue. So let us see. Let us see. If not, Jokic would be. If you own Jokic, you'd have a big week from him.
Charlotte also has 4 games this week and 2 on quality game days. Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit, and Orlando are the opponents.
That's imagine the Charlotte, Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando games. That's gonna be. You know what's one thing good with Denver, Charlotte, and even New Orleans. They have games on the 3 days with the least games. No, we were not looking at, we know there's only one quality day, but as we said, the Judgment Day has 6 games, and then there's 1 7 game that's Friday. So these teams, Denver, Charlotte, and then New Orleans, they have games on all those 3 days. So that makes it even better. Now the matchups are already good, but they get even better because of the streaming possibility for some of their players.
And like you said, New Orleans also has a good schedule. Denver, Dallas, the Lakers, and Sacramento are their matchups. Still no Zion, so there might, we talked about Trey Murphy.
Should be good for him.
Yeah. Should still be good. Should also still start because Zion. I'm not sure when Zion's coming back, but yeah. Who else? Good. Philly, who had a bad schedule this week. They also have a favorable schedule. 4 games, but they don't have any back-to-backs.
And look at the 4 games.
Orlando, San Antonio, and Knicks.
The New York game. Yeah.
So it's going to be Joel Embiid is going to show the world that he should be starting.
I hope not.
I'm gonna
take him. I'll be against him in the FBI league, and my hope is that all of these games are blowouts. And as I said, Orlando, maybe he misses one of those games if he's not 100%. It's not a back-to-back, but even San Antonio, I mean, come on, they can beat San Antonio with him not playing. So that is the concern. Again, same with Denver. It's good, but it might be too good. It might be too good for their star players.
Washington gets San Antonio, Detroit, Portland, and Brooklyn. So if, of course, Kristaps not there. So if you still have, Gafford had a great game today. Monte Morris came back just in case he was dropped, although he has been good of late. And then Sacramento, they have Minnesota, San Antonio, Indiana, and New Orleans.
Very good.
And they also have the Rockets on week 17. So
on the first day of week 7.
So that's a great schedule. In case you're looking for players to add, Jalen McDaniels is one in Charlotte. Emmanuel quickly. I talked about the Washington boys, Dillon Wright, Avdiha, Gafford, those 3. Maybe Kispert, who's starting. Did Kendrick Nunn do well today? I didn't see the numbers, but
not that good because they were healthy today. So just something to monitor maybe next time. When Monte misses a game or 2.
Cole Anthony, Dorian Finney-Smith, Pat Connaughton, Mark Williams, Alec Burks, and Hamido Diallo, some players to consider.
Mark Williams. I'll gamble on Mark Williams this week. I'll say it right now. I'll gamble on him. Let's see if it pans out.
Gamble with Commish.
I think the matchup is really good for the Hornets, as we said. I think Orlando and Detroit in the last 2 games. I'll gamble with Mark Williams.
All right. So that's a rundown of week 16 schedule.
Week 16, yes.
Just a few more weeks, 4 more weeks before the fantasy playoffs, at least for our FBW league. So if you're trying to catch up, now is the best time to do it. Hopefully you're not too far off. Commish mentioned about the FBI. We'll probably give you some updates there next week, because next week's the start of that playoff week, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see how Commish does. An interesting story about that league as well from Commish. We'll dive into that maybe sometime next week in our activities. All right, that's it for today. Have a good weekend, guys. As always, please subscribe, follow us on our socials, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow for a regular daily fantasy. Bye, guys.